Hey, on today's show, we're talking about life in Los Angeles and getting into the world of directing and the years spent in videography. Come on, welcome to the show, Luis De Peña. All right, here we are. We've got Los Angeles' finest, Luis De Peña, in the house. Welcome, dude.
Yeah, born and raised LA.
Born and raised in LA. He did a quick stint from the ages of 0 to 18 or whatever in Orlando, but here he is back in Central Florida. The prodigal son's returned. Dude, how are you?
Here. I'm good, man.
Yeah.
It's good to be here with you.
It's good to see you, man.
Yeah, you as well. Your
We were
beard
just
looks
doing the
amazing.
math. Thanks, dude. Yeah, I'm trying. It's the only hair that I got now, really. But it's we were just doing the math, dude. I don't think I've seen you in person in a really long time. Like I think it's been 2020 or 2021.
2021.
Crazy, dude.
Wild. Yeah, what's 4 years? 4.5 years?
Yeah. It's crazy how that flies.
So wild. How
Yeah.
much life happens.
Yeah, for sure. You guys moved out to, like, obviously joking earlier, like you guys moved out to Los Angeles kind of around the 2022 time. What has that been like?
Dude, crazy. I mean, we got married same year. Moved out 4 months later.
Yeah.
It's been a ride. It's been so crazy. I mean, living in a whole new place, meeting new people, and kind of diving headfirst into an industry I've never been a part of. Like,
Yeah. Did you have a job going out there, or was it Haley, or how did that work out?
Yeah, no, initially, I went out there with Oasis.
Yeah.
And I was doing stuff with them for a good bit, and, still there. Oasis is the fam. Love Julian. Julian Lowe is my dog.
Seems like a great guy.
He's crazy. I freaking love him.
Yeah.
We match each other's energy. We have the same birthday.
No way.
If that tells
That's
you
cool.
anything you need to know, we're just as psycho as each other. So. No, it's cool. So we did that for a little bit, and then I would, kind of 2023, beginning of 2023 is when I just did the freelance thing full time.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And we'll get into the videography stuff and all that, how you got into that.
Totally.
What was dude, I've only ever lived East Coast. So Florida, Georgia, Pennsylvania, those three areas. But what was the transition like for you? Because I mean, that's the same for you, right?
Yeah,
you were only ever East Coast, New York and Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
What was it like moving out there?
Oh, bro, it's like the 2 good days that you get in Florida every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
It's like, clear skies. The weather is perfect. It's a little psycho, and sometimes if you go to the wrong area, it smells like piss. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's great, man. The people are really, really nice. They've embraced us.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's living in LA is one of those things that, like, if you like to romanticize life, you do well there. Because every day feels like a dream,
Yeah. And you pay for that dream.
You
pay for
a
that dream
lot.
heavy, dude.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking when you said that. I was like, those 2 nice days cost a lot at the end of the year.
It costs a lot. It costs a lot at the end of the month.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
but it's been cool.
It's a difference. I legitimately, as a 32-year-old man, I have no context. I don't even think I've ever been to Los Angeles.
Really?
Yeah, I've flown into, and I'm not even saying I've really been there. I've flown into San Diego,
Right.
But went straight to Mexico. I was like, get me out. No, shit. It was like for a trip
Get
or
me to
whatever.
God's country.
God, get me out of here. I don't know if I ever have.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, actually. I've never been there, so I have no context. But I see it. I think about like what I think about New York and being like really crammed together, packed, big city. I just think about that like a little bit more spread out.
Exactly.
And that's Los Angeles.
Exactly.
But the same prices. Or more.
Yeah, honestly, no, New York's a little more expensive.
Okay.
You get less space too, which is crazy. But yeah, LA, you kind of got this. You got so many different, areas. You've got the beach, Santa Monica, Venice, and it's where all the the weirdos live. You know, you go to the beach at any time and you're gonna have a sight. Like,
yeah.
It's crazy.
It's not like Daytona, right?
No,
You missed.
It's exactly.
You really
like
missed
Daytona.
Yeah, it's exactly like Daytona, dude. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Trash everywhere.
And then, you know, you got West Hollywood, which is like the posh, like where the influencers live, you know, and like to hang out. And then you've got like Hollywood, which is like a B version of Times Square. And then, you know, you've got East LA, East Hollywood, which is, it's cool. It reminds me a lot of New York, the culture, the vibe, the people. And then, you know, everything's just walkable. So it's like you can get away with not having a car if you're in East LA. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Is that where you guys are at? In that kind of area?
Yeah, we're in East Hollywood. So like Los Feliz, if you know LA at all, you've probably been to the Griffith Observatory. And we're literally across the street from the Griffith Observatory, so you know can see it
cool
every day when we walk out.
I like that, dude. I like not having to, not like Lakeland's far from Los Angeles, but I like where I live in Lakeland, Florida, because I can walk to so much stuff. Like I live near our coffee shop, my haircut, all that kind of stuff.
Totally.
So I love that, dude. Like, cause we're a 1-car family, and so I love like just being able to walk to places. Sorry about that. But that's sick, dude. Yeah.
It's great. It's great to start your morning with a little walk, and maybe get a coffee, or, you know, there's a spot by us called Yeasty Boys. They do like bagels.
Okay.
And so it's cool to start your morning and, you know, get a little bit of that, and it does a lot of good for you mentally to just start your day slowly.
Yeah.
You know,
that's cool. How difficult was it for you guys? Like you mentioned that earlier, moving out to a new place. I've had that feeling before, like just meeting people. Obviously, you went and worked for a church, so that was probably helpful.
Totally.
Like you knew a couple people that already lived there when you guys moved there.
Yeah, no, it was cool. I think, you know, we definitely got lucky, you know, with moving out there and having people. You know, my wife's best friend from high school moved out at the same time, and you know, they reconnected. Also had a husband. We met, we hung out. It was like great vibes from the jump.
That's cool. Yeah.
And we hang out to this day. So it's just like things like that where, you know, we were able to meet people that we just instantly connected with and clicked with. Made it really, really easy. But I mean, it can be hard, you know, if you aren't great at connecting with people or aren't in an environment where you can do that so easily. It can be hard, but yeah, I think we got really, really lucky moving out there, like just meeting a lot of great people.
Yeah, man. That's the reality of like, even like living in like a bigger city, just because there's more people doesn't make it easier to just like.
Makes it harder.
Oh, find a good friend. Yeah, exactly. It makes it harder because everybody, we kind of felt that when we moved up to, definitely not like New York size or LA size or anything like that, but we moved up to Pennsylvania. Like it's a bigger area. It's the capital of PA where we lived at. And just because there's more people, it's actually harder because like people already have their set things for so long, and they're in their rhythms, and there's so many people there. So it's kind of hard to be like, how do you find your way in?
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
But church is a great way to do that.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
And then for your realm of what you do for work, we can get into a little bit of like so much of it being videography, right? Is the
directing now.
Directing. Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, I remember like from the beginning of knowing you, like back in college, like it was videography was kind of newer for you, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about how it all kind of started, and obviously we'll get to some of where you're at today and some stories around that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, film and entertainment to me was like always a touch point that I loved. And you know, I started editing when I was like 15. I like shot my first wedding, quote unquote, with like a VHS camera.
Oh, really?
I got paid $100 and it was so bad. I feel bad.
You think they look back on that wedding video at all? Or
100%. It was the biggest waste of money, you know. But that was the first time that I was like, oh, whoa, I could get paid from doing this.
Wait. I feel like there was definitely like other camcorders out at when you were 15. There was like VHS wasn't the only option.
Yeah, I just didn't know how to work a camera. So, you know, fast forward to 18, that was like the first time that I actually shot with a camera.
Yeah.
It was with Nelson Siddhativorn.
Oh yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
We went around shooting, and that was like my first time ever, really. So going to SEU and shooting there, that was like my playground of learning how a camera works in real time and shooting chapels. And
well, yeah, I was about to say, you jumped in. Like, there was probably like a great opportunity for you to like just practice, because there were events and chapels and things like that you could just jump in and volunteer to be a part of to like get better.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation one time with Chase Wagner, who was the worship pastor at the time, and I was like really nervous of like, oh, how close is too close? Like, can I get on stage? And he kind of just eased me up a lot. It was just like, hey man, this is your playground. Like, just have fun and
go for it.
Yeah, just And so I just took that approach to literally everything that I started shooting. I started shooting football games and would be told by the coaches to like step back.
You're gonna make the mistake of like going
too far. 100%. And I started doing the same thing with basketball games here, and just trying to literally shoot whatever I could. You know?
Dude, I think that's actually like, you bring that up, I don't feel like I notice, which is like to that credit of like, hey, just go for it. Let it be your playground. Like when I'm at church or events like that, like, dude, I hardly ever notice. There's sometimes where I notice the camera person or whatever, and that they're like on stage or close by, but it doesn't keep my attention. Right. Unless they're doing something wild or whatever. Like the only time I ever look for is if I'm looking for it, you know?
Right.
But I bet you feel probably a little bit more like, dude, are all eyes on me right now in this room?
100%. Well, you're new at it, so you're already nervous about the fact that you don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely is nerve wracking. But I think that doing that over and over again obviously just makes you more comfortable.
Yeah. And obviously from where you are today, you've had so much time like perfecting and working on like, hey, what makes this great? Like with all the pieces of it too. I literally was just thinking about, I remember you living with us for like a summer there, or a couple months or whatever. And there's this one video of you were editing of, is it Manny, what's his last name?
Manny Arango.
Yeah, and
shout out.
Played, which is, okay, to your credit, you were really like perfecting the audio of it, but you played this one clip 100 times in a row. And I remember being there, and I finally yelled out like, Lewis, stop, turn it down,
Put
dude.
some headphones on.
Yeah, put headphones on. You were like, oh, sorry, or whatever. And
that's hilarious.
We were also, dude, this is so funny. We were doing a fast together. Do you remember that? Like for our church? And you left well, I did it too. So it's not like I'm not doxing you or whatever, but like I did the same thing. Like I would leave, like we would both leave like our, like, what was it? Like our stock or whatever, like on the stove and just go do something and just sitting there burning in the house.
Come back, it's evaporated.
Oh God,
it's just gone.
You're like, dude, dang it. Now I got to go get Chipotle.
Right. That's hilarious.
But yeah, dude, but to your credit in that, like, you probably took a different approach than maybe some people of like, hey, I'm really going to focus on getting this right. Like, what does it look like? You might not hit 100% perfection, but what does it look like to get too close to that, rather than just being like, cool, it's a video, here it is, like put it out there, right?
Yeah, no, I think, part of who I've always been is like, I want to do things at a really high level. And, growing up, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it looked like. I just always saw it, whether it was on TV or whatever. I saw the really high level, and I said, I want to do that. And so, yeah, I think, a lot of, my development has been that is like, okay, how can I get what I have closer to what this looks like? And, I think even just part of like, and I know we haven't talked about this yet, but like even part of being an intern with you guys and, and working on staff, that a lot of it was my playground there as well, to push what I'm doing closer to what this looks like, or what, the excellence thing is. And so, yeah, I think, it's less of a perfection thing for me. It's more of like an excellence. Like I want it to make it really great.
Yeah.
Whenever I could.
And I think everybody that knows you well, like knows that, like talking back to about like you being like back when I was an intern director and you were an intern there at the church, that I think that was the kind of obvious thing or known thing about you is like, okay, Lewis is really great at what he does, and like you're also going to do it very well. So like what's cool to see is like it's a testament to you too and what you've done is that like you putting like effort into that is like we allowed, or maybe not if that's the right word, but like trusted you. I guess that's the better word. Of just being like, dude, I know that like Lewis is going to make a sick like opener video or teaser video or whatever the case is.
Yeah. So just sometimes it came right at the last second.
At the last second. Like
but
you were sleeping. You were sleeping at the church. And then like that morning, dude, that is wild to me.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool to be like, and we're going to get into this too of like what you've done today and the people you've worked with and all that kind of stuff. But like, I don't think you get to where you are today without some stories like that.
Totally.
Like, I slept at the church for like a quick half hour or an hour because I had to get this video done for tomorrow.
To pump out the cuts.
Yeah. Well, dude, because other people would just be like, no, you don't get that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's cool too. I get the like, you know, you were in a different era of life too, right? No kids, like you had a girlfriend, but no wife at the time. So that probably helped a little bit too, but you're also passionate about your craft.
Right.
And I think that like speaks a lot to like your ability and who you are and all that. So dude, what a crazy time.
It's wild. I think about those days and I'm like, I can't believe I slept somewhere else to finish a project, which is psycho, but yeah, we did it.
Can't do it today though.
No.
Got that baby.
No, yeah. Now I'm not sleeping for a different reason.
A whole different reason. How old is your kid?
She's going to be 6 months, May 1st.
So cool,
Chunky
man.
butt.
Yeah. What a fun time, dude. Like you have a girl and I have no clue of that world. I have 2 boys. But I just feel like I remember like, if it's the same with girls and boys in this one aspect, like right now, she's so dependent upon your wife, Haley.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but there's going to come a time, like in 6 more months and like a year, where like there's a little bit less dependency and then they start to really love dad.
Yeah.
And dude, it's the sweetest time.
I can't wait.
Where it's like, haha, like she doesn't want you that much anymore. It wants me, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, it really is like a funny thing, you know? Like she'll be crying, I'm holding her and I'm like, I just want you to calm down. And then I'll give her to Haley.
Just like me.
Literally. And I'll give her to Haley and then immediately she like lightens up. I'm like, you know what?
Dude, I know that. I don't know. I think it probably comes in waves, dude. Cause like my oldest right now, like there'll be times where I'm like, dude, just talk to me real quick. He's like, no, I want mommy. I'm like, fine, just go. Like, whatever, man.
Yeah. It really teaches you that you can't like control anything.
No. Yeah. You can just do your best.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to be here for when you need me.
That's it.
Oh man, dude. Well, dude, okay, so you obviously, like we've talked about, honed your craft, all that kind of stuff. When do you feel like, I don't know if it was Florida, if it was LA, when do you feel like was the first big like project for you? And maybe it doesn't have to be like connected to somebody famous, but when was the first time we were like, oh, this is like a big project? Does that make sense?
Totally. Yeah. I think I went a lot of years like just chipping away at doing projects for people, and every time it got like a little cooler. But the first one, you know, that I remember came through this producer that I was working with. His name's Caleb. He owns Storyvox in Sarasota. I was shooting a lot with them at the time, and you know, had just been learning as much as I could. And again, you know, chasing the excellence thing. And it kind of led to working on this project with Netflix.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
So this was 2019, right before COVID, and I went down to Fort Lauderdale for like 2 weeks. I was shooting a documentary with Netflix, and that was the first time that I was like, "Whoa,
it's a big deal.
This is huge."
Yeah.
I had my own Airbnb, like
they paid for it.
They paid for it, you know, and like coming from, you know, church, you're used to like crashing one hotel room with like 4 other dudes.
Yeah.
It's like they gave me a whole house.
We're covering
myself.
dinner.
Yeah,
Who wants pizza?
Yeah, right. And then, you know, going to that, and it's like a per diem, and I'm like, whoa, this is like the big leagues. Like, I think I've made
a cool feeling.
Yeah. And then COVID happened,
and
it was like, you know, all
Did that
over
thing
it.
come out?
It never came
documentary?
out. Yeah, no, it never came out. They lost their deal with Netflix because of COVID. But, it was a really, really cool experience getting to, meet executives and producers that work in the industry and do this for a living.
Yeah.
And I think it really helped me, and it helped my confidence of like, whoa, I can do this on the other side of like just shooting random content,
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was like the first thing that I was like, whoa, this is a big deal.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah. I bet it gave some ease of like, oh, I know what it's like to be in a room of executives and producers and all this kind of stuff and feel like I'm a part of that. You know what I mean? Not like, oh, I'm the odd man out. Everybody's looking at me.
Right.
Like they wanted me here.
Right. I got paid to be here.
That's great. Even though it didn't come out. Yeah. That's honestly a crazy thought of how like, I don't know if fickle is the right word, but like things can just happen. You can work on this big project and then just something happens like scrapped.
Yeah. I mean,
has that happened to you multiple times now?
Multiple times. Oh my gosh. I was doing a project in Miami in October with Jordan Adetunji, who's, English, UK based rapper, doing a feature with Lil Baby.
Okay.
And, I'm on my flight from LA. I land in Miami. Our producer comes to pick us up at the airport and he gets out of the car laughing. He's just smiling. I was like, why are you smiling? He's putting our luggage in the car and stuff. And he's like, the project just got canceled. And I was like, bro, you're so dumb. And so I get in the car. He looks at me and he's like, no, I'm being so serious. Like, the project is canceled. And I was like, you're telling me I just flew from LA to Miami for this project and it's canceled.
Done.
It's done. And over the next 48 hours, like, he worked his magic and, we were able to actually make the project happen. But yeah, that happens all the time. Like, you think something's going to happen and then it's just like, no, it changes. And, again, we did a project for Brent Fayez 2 years ago, whole music video, 16, 17-hour day. I don't want to say how much was spent, but it was
it was a lot.
Six figures. And, it's just canceled. Project never came out.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Or are you not allowed to say?
I'm not allowed to say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Crazy though, dude. Yeah, that's some money to spend to just be like, you know what?
Yeah. Never mind.
Never mind.
Totally.
Yeah, never mind.
Totally.
Dude, that's wild, dude. So you get into LA. So let's talk about this. You get into LA and like, obviously you're doing stuff for the church. Like a lot of that has, I'm sure you're doing video stuff like that.
Totally.
And that's like your niche, like your strong suit and all. When was the moment, I guess, what was the first thing that kind of like sparked the freelance stuff? Was there a moment for you where you're like, you got a break or a connection or something like that?
No, I mean, I think it's always been slowly chipping away. I kind of, when people ask me for advice on what being a director is like, I say, you're building a really tall building that's going to take a really long time to build. And it's just brick by brick. And every project is a brick. And every project is a look. And so I don't think there was a project that ever was like the one thing that gave me my break. I think it was just like a lot of consistent bricks just being laid.
Yeah.
And so I moved out to LA and I'm working with, Oasis, doing stuff with them. But on the backside, because I'm wanting to get connected into the industry, you move to LA and you're like, whoa, this is so massive. I don't even know where to start. Like, how do I become a part of this? So literally, and this is kind of a trip when you first move to LA, but you'll be driving around and you'll see a bunch of yellow signs. It means they're filming something. It means they're filming a TV show or a movie or whatever. And it literally could be happening right outside of, your apartment. And so I came home one day and, to the left of our apartment was a TV show that was being filmed. And one of the things that I was doing was going on these, sets and just being like, hey, do you guys need any PAs? Because I want to, be a part of this. So I walked on the set and, kind of not supposed to do this. But I walked on the set. I asked for the PM, which is the production manager. And they pointed me to the production manager. And I was like, hey, I know this is crazy, but, I just moved out here. I'm a PA. I would love to work with you guys if you need any PAs. And he looked at me. He goes, are you like, you're not going to kill us or anything, right? I was like, that's an odd thing to say, but no, I'm not. I know what I'm doing, and I work really hard, and I can make this happen. And so he handed me a piece of paper and was like, hey, write your phone number and your email, and we'll call you. And I was like, he's not gonna call. He called me the next morning and was like, hey, my name's Edgar. Nice to meet you yesterday. This is a TV show for Paramount.
Okay, yeah.
And we want you on as a PA. And that was one of my first projects.
That's cool.
Working as a PA with Paramount. All from just walking up and just asking.
Going for it,
yeah,
dude.
just going for it.
Yeah.
Again, it's all your playground. It's just like,
that's good encouragement too for anybody listening to this. It's like, the worst you can get is a no.
Yeah.
Right? Like
That's
if you're dreaming of something, like you want to do something, this is like a passion you have, it's like, why not
just go for it?
Go for it.
Just
and
go for
like
it.
the embarrassment you may feel from getting a no lasts like 5 minutes ish.
Not even.
Yeah.
I can't remember who's said no to me.
Yeah, dude. I was literally
like.
just talking to the last person that I was interviewing for the podcast here about like, I've just gotten into this mode lately where I'll just like DM or comment like on random people's stuff, and like I'll say like let's say they're like into running. I'll just like comment and be like, yo, come talk that running talk with me on the pod or whatever. And dude, 9 times out of 10, it's a no. But I do have one. I'll tell you after the show's over. But I do have one that finally said yes. And I'm interviewing him this Sunday.
Let's go.
It's very niche, but it's like kind of cool for me.
Let's go.
But I'm like, dude, if I do that 20 times and I get one, easy.
That's
then like
great.
it's nothing for me.
Great.
It took me 5 seconds to comment on an Instagram post or whatever.
Next time, 20 times turns into 2 out of the 20, and 3, and it just keeps. Again, it's a brick. It's another brick that's just being laid.
100%, man. But yeah, it's just like people actually kill their dream by just like waiting for it to be the perfect time, or just by like, waiting for that like perfect moment. And I don't think that ever happens. It's just by going for it.
You have to make the perfect moment.
Yeah. Maybe working like a dirty job, so to speak, for a little bit until it gets to that, to that point.
Totally.
I'm sure living in Los Angeles, and maybe we can talk about this story too. You've met some like, I'm assuming, dude, like the most famous person I run into in Lakeland is like the mayor. You know what I mean? We know him, but living in Los Angeles, you've ran into a couple like famous people or two. Like,
just
tell us about
Tuesday night.
Tell us about a story that you've met somebody, just like random.
Should I talk about the story?
Talk about the story, if you're cool with it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know if it'll get me canceled now or not, but you know,
we'll see. Yeah, he's a prominent figure right now.
Yeah, totally. No, I was at this place. It's a really cool old Hollywood hotel. It's called Chateau Marmont, and it's off of Sunset. It's a really, really great place. Great drinks, really good food. The atmosphere is amazing, and it's one of those places where Stevie Nicks used to go party at. Or like Gucci rents it out, and
you hear about it in the stories.
Yes, exactly. It's that place, and so I like to go there to hang out with friends, and particularly this one night I went there with a friend. It was his first night in LA, and we're sitting down having a conversation, and he's like, well, living out here, he asked me the same thing. Like, you probably must see so many celebrities. Who's one that you've been wanting to meet that you've never met? And I grew up on Kanye. Kanye is like my. And
also, this was years ago. This was not 2025 Kanye.
Totally.
This was like in 2022. You're saying, oh, Kanye.
Yeah. And so we're chilling, and we get done with our drinks, and we're paying for our tab, and we're walking out, and lo and behold, Kanye is walking out right in front of us, and he was with another friend, and they stopped, they turned around, and they kind of dapped us up, like, oh, hey, what's up? If you're at Chateau, they know that you're not like press or fans. Like, everybody that's there works in the industry in some capacity.
Sure.
And so it wasn't weird, and I am a seize the moment kind of person.
I love that. Yeah.
So, we said what's up to Kanye, and, we're walking down the steps, and I went downstairs, and I was like, man, I could either go shoot my shot or just let this moment live on. And I was like, you know what? F it. I'm going back up.
Yeah. What's the worst
that could happen? And obviously I wasn't a weirdo about it, but I went back up, I introduced myself, and we had, a really small conversation. And the funny thing about meeting artists in LA is, you know, sometimes you could have a really good conversation with them. They'll give you their phone number, which is a trip. You know, when you first, you know, get, you know, Anderson .Paak gave me his phone number one time.
Yeah.
And it's so random, you know, and then you'll text them and they'll never text you back, you know? And so I'm talking with Kanye and he's asking what I do, and I tell him what I do and, you know, how long I've been doing it for. And he goes, well, what's your phone number? And I was like, oh, it's this, you know, and I gave him my phone number and then I'm talking to the other guy he's with. I feel my phone vibrating in my pocket. And I was like, oh, I think my wife's calling me right now. This is the worst time. This is the worst time for a phone call. And then, you know, I look back over at him and he goes, I just called you. Now you have my number. I want you to text me. Send me your work. And I was like, holy shit. Like, this dude really wants me to have his phone number and like has mine. It's crazy. And that was that. You know, and then next thing you know, 2 weeks later, I'm with him in Salt Lake City. He started doing the Vultures listening parties. And so I was out there with him and, you know, met Ty Dolla $ign and met his whole crew, Leon Thomas. And yeah, it's beautiful. A lot of, you know, really, really beautiful relationships and friendships came from that one moment. But yeah, that's exactly it of like, you know, just going for it. You never know where 100%. It might lead or how it might get you to the next thing.
If you would have like listened to the voice in your head that just said, you know, he's probably too busy or whatever. Like, I don't want to be embarrassed, and just walked out that door, it would have never, I'm sure that launched some cool things for you too and connections and all that kind of stuff. But dude, just the point of like, hey, being willing to be embarrassed and going up there and being like, hey, my name's Luis. Whatever.
Yeah. He funny enough, he, you know, I went up to him and I was like, hey, huge fan. Really, really love what you do. And, you know, would love to learn from you. And he goes, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm a director. I work in film. He said, okay, well, good. Because if you would have said you were a producer, I would have told you to walk away. So, you know, it definitely is scary because you don't know what these people are going to react like.
Or what they get asked every single, like every 5 minutes or whatever.
Yeah. Like if I see Tyler, the creator, on the street, I'm not going up to him. I have no idea what that conversation would be like, and that scares me.
But dude, I love him. I genuinely do. I also, it's so funny to me that my son loves him for a different reason, is because he did the Grinch soundtrack. And I'm like, it's so funny to me that like me and my son are listening to Tyler, the Creator, but for completely different reasons. But dude, I feel like, he's the kind of guy that like, he might roast me. You know what I mean?
No,
he might roast me and I will remember it.
He will.
I will remember it for a long time.
I'll cry. It's hilarious.
Dude, that's so cool though, man. Dude, it's cool to hear those stories, because I think that like if somebody listening to this gains nothing from this conversation other than like, oh, hey, it's worth it sometimes to just like go for the embarrassment. You know what I mean? Even if you are embarrassed, it's like the worst possible outcome is nothing happens. The best possible outcome is you are following a step closer in like your dream, your career, or like something you're passionate about. And like, who cares, dude? Who cares if you feel like embarrassed or whatever? You know?
Who cares about any of it? Honestly, this is your dream. Who cares about, you know, only you.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Even like with this the podcast too. I look back on. Luckily, I had a good homie, Ryan. That was like my first podcast guest, and he helped it a lot. But I look back and I'm like, oh, dude, I could have done like XYZ. You're feeling like, oh man, I could have been better, whatever. But like, because it's always nerve-wracking to put yourself out there for the first time. You know? But it's like, if you never take the step, dude, you'll never get anywhere.
And you know, I think it's paired, you know, with stepping out, but you also have to do the work. And I think that being in this space where I'm at now and working with the artists and the people, you know, in the caliber that they're at, what I've noticed is that their hard work is, you know, we complain about the stuff that we have to do sometimes, either at work or, you know, if you're in school and, you know, you have to do homework. I mean, what these people have to do, and it's crazy. You know, it's taught me a whole different work ethic, and a whole new level of being committed to your craft in a way that nobody else is. And it's the reason why they're at where they're at.
Yeah, yeah. How have you, just out of curiosity, how have now you being like a dad and having a family and all that kind of stuff, what have you learned recently about like the work-life balance? Or are you still learning right now?
Yeah, no, yeah. You know, I think like one of the things that I'll never forget about this specific theme is something that Andrew, who's was my old boss.
Yeah, my pastor, full pastor, all that stuff. Yeah.
I'm just joking. One of the things he said, you know, that has always stuck with me is that life isn't really about balance. It's more about rhythms, and it's about finding the rhythm that you're in for that specific moment, you know?
Yeah.
And so, you know, sometimes my job is I have nothing going on. You know, earlier this year, we had the fires in LA.
Yeah.
Which was so tragic. You know, so many homes were lost. I know people personally that were affected by them in terrible ways, and they lost a lot of their stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and so, but that changed a lot of work for a lot of people in the entertainment industry. And so the rhythm of that moment was, you know, just be with your family and hang out. And so that's what I did, you know. But then immediately after, everything just picked right back up. And, you know, that's the rhythm that I've been on is just figuring out how to work and spend intentional time with my family, so that I can, you know, get back to whatever it is that I'm doing and do it, you know, fully.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's great advice, dude. I feel like I've noticed that too. Life never gives you just like the perfect, like, hey, this is what it's going to be like for the rest of your year. It's going to be exactly like this. So get into this rhythm.
It's a ride.
It's going to be, there's slow moments, there's busy moments, there's challenging moments, there's all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And how do you rise to the occasion as a husband or a father or a worker or whatever the case is in that moment?
Yeah.
And it'll look different.
Yeah. And you're not always going to get it right.
No, 100%.
Like, I think you get it wrong more at first.
But it's when you stop trying
exactly.
is the bad part. When you stop trying or stop caring to being like, oh, well, this is just is what it is.
Right.
And I think a huge part of that too is, and this is probably a whole nother conversation, is like being willing to, I've learned that a lot as a husband and a worker and a dad and all of that, is like being willing to admit, oh yeah, I was wrong in this. Like I didn't have that right.
Totally.
Like, yeah, I'm sorry. I did this for a season and I got to get better at XYZ, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
That's
so
real.
yeah, dude, especially as like having two kids right now, man. Dude, I was literally thinking about this the other day. I was like, I have no idea what's going on in music right now. Like, and that's just a reality. Like, I don't know I think, and I don't even know how new he is. There's a couple different genres that I love. Like I actually mix around a lot.
Yeah.
But like country stuff I'll listen to, whatever, hip hop, like Big X the Plug was like the one guy that I've listened to recently where I'm like, this is the newest guy, and he might not even be so that new. Is he really?
He's such a nice guy.
You've met him?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's sick, dude. If there's a few people I have on a short list of being like, it would be cool to have them on a show, but he seems like a really nice guy. But like, other than that, dude, I listen to the Lion King soundtrack. I listen to like Moana, like all that. That's like all I hear, man.
You know the words front to back.
Dude, I could sing to you. I'm not kidding you. I could sing to you most of Scar's song. My son loves that. Like, there's a part in Lion King where Scar and the hyenas sing, and for whatever reason, he loves it. I could sing it to you right now.
Are you going
to? No, I'm not going to. I can sing the whole thing right now. Dude, this just becomes a niche podcast for like Lion King music. Oh,
that's hilarious.
Dude, yeah. Well, man, I'm so appreciative for you being on the show, man. It means a lot. It's also really cool for knowing you for so long. Dude, I was like a student leader when you were a college student.
Yeah. We
were in college together.
Yeah.
I was your intern director for a season.
Yeah.
Been friends, obviously, extending like longer than that.
Yeah.
Did we work at Portico together? I don't know. We worked
I just always hung out there.
Yeah. Like I made your coffee for a while.
Yeah.
And now we get to do this, man, and we get to like raise kids and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
10 years in the making.
Crazy.
A whole decade.
2015?
2015. No, 2014.
2014. So over that. Yeah.
Over a decade.
Man, that's wild. Well, dude, I'm super proud of you, and obviously like it's cool to see everything that you're doing now. We always do this at the end of the show. Just one more minute left. Like, what are ways that people can, like, just kind of rolling out the red carpet for you? What are ways that people can connect and kind of follow up with what you're doing, or I don't know, maybe want to reach out to you for a project or whatever.
Yeah,
the case is.
no, totally. I Instagram is
The easiest.
I feel like the easiest way for everybody. Just at Luis De Peña _ and I try to be very responsive. I feel like a lot of people that have reached a certain status, in their career become unresponsive.
Sure, yeah,
too cool to reply. But yeah, no, I'm always willing. I think our goal as just people who are becoming great at our craft is to teach others how to do it as well. And so yeah, I'm always willing to pass any information along. I think that's pretty much it. I don't really
That's awesome, man.
Spend my time anywhere else.
Well, dude, I love it. Again, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
And hopefully we get to do this again someday.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.